My question is, why now? Why tell us now? It's 2025. How long have they been sitting on this? This shit crazy. Y'all remember the Mandela Effect? The glitches, all the little deja vu moments you got? This is probably the reason why you was having it. This explains it all.
Discovered a form of energy that is latent and pervasive in the physical universe that he called radiant energy. It's not the ball lightning and the more conventional forms of electricity that he's associated with in conventional history. It was an energy that he discovered that he kept secret, called radiant energy, that has among its inherent properties the capacity to bend time-space. So at Curtiss-Wright, there was an object that consisted basically of two parenthesis-shaped booms, between which the Defense Department of the United States had found a way to broadcast this radiant energy. And when we jumped through that curtain of shimmering radiant energy, we found ourselves in a vortal tunnel passing through time-space. In other words, the inertia of our bodies passing through the field of radiant energy opened up a kind of a pocket in the fabric of time-space. And when that bubble closed, we were repositioned elsewhere on the face of our planet, either in real time or with the displacement to the past or future. But because the technology was an emergent technology and they wanted to avoid us being stranded by, for example, teleporting too far back into the past, we were usually just teleporting in real time. So, for example, we jumped through the device at 9:15 a.m. in New Jersey. When we arrived, it was 7:15 Mountain Time.
What other things would you say are different in 3036 than they are now?
Well, I'll tell you this. You're as free as you're ever going to get right now. These are considered the last days of freedom. Your kids won't even see it. So, soak it up, because as simple-minded as your time period is, you got it pretty good. You just don't know it.
What's the population in 3036?
The world population?
Yeah.
Just over 2 billion people. You know what? You might actually be here when the big blackout happens. How old are you again?
42.
So you'll be in your 70s by the time that happens. You might want to check out before then.
What's the big blackout?
The big blackout, if I'm not mistaken, happens in December 2052. Basically, everything goes dark for upwards of 5 years. The internet, the power, all gets disconnected on the account of what's called terrorists. But many speculate otherwise. Anyway, 5 years, it's turmoil, riots, you name it. It's pretty much one of the worst of times. It takes them upwards to 20 years to get the power back online. And even then, it's absolute chaos. Believe it or not, our zoo consists of animals like dogs and cats, rabbits, squirrels. These are considered exotic animals. All of the larger species, like lions and tigers, cat species, the larger ones, elephants, they're all gone. The larger species no longer exist. We've got large areas, hundreds of miles, thousands of miles, all designated to wind turbines, reflective mirrors, and solar panels. It's one of the few remaining jobs left for residents, but it's also the most dangerous. When children are first born, they're assigned partners, which are called caring ones. These are basically small robots that monitor the child for health conditions. The caring ones are assigned with children up until the age 16 when they're legally able to have children. At times, the caring ones can be assigned for longer durations, whether or not the children have mental instabilities, health issues, and other underlying conditions.
His X-ray results proved exactly what he said. Although we can't determine the actual technology of the chip itself, Sebastian does, in fact, have a foreign object implanted in his hand. Now, this doesn't confirm at all his claims of being from the future, but he does have an object in his hand. I mean, perhaps it's all just part of his elaborate hoax. Not only did we get an X-ray from Sebastian, but he also agreed to have blood work done. If he's telling the truth about everyone in the future being born with various forms of metal oxides in their body, this test will easily determine that.
They all live to about 40 years old.
Why do they die so young?
Nobody can live outside for years and years at a time without proper care. People need masks and respirators outdoors at all times. The air quality in my time is so poor that nobody can live out there for long. And that's why there's no more houses, and everybody's required to live in pods. Pods are the only kind of living quarters that can protect us from the air pollutants.
Would you be willing to allow us to X-ray that chip in your hand so we can get a visual of it? We pay for it, of course.
You don't believe me, huh?
No, I'm not saying that at all. But visual proof of it would obviously substantiate your claim.
Set it up.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
Can you tell me the difference between the Montauk Project, Project Looking Glass, and this Project Pegasus that you talk about?
Project Pegasus emerged under the aegis of DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, in the late 60s, and encompassed at least 8 different forms of gathering information about past and future events by either propagating a hologram of such an event or physically traveling there. The 2 primary technologies were a teleporter based on the writings of Nikola Tesla and a device called a chronovisor that propagates moving, colored holograms of past and future events. That was the work of 2 Vatican musicologists named Ernetti and Gemelli. It's my opinion that looking glass technology is simply a later technical term for a chronovisor. And so I don't think there's any technical or programmatic difference except that the accounts of the looking glass technology don't tell the full story of what Project Pegasus achieved by, let's say, 1970, when it had already developed numerous forms of time travel. In Project Pegasus, we worked with a device that we called the chair, which is clearly the device that the Montauk account identifies as the so-called Montauk chair, which is a magnetic transducer that essentially propels the human mind forward in time-space so that the person sitting in the chair has a kind of an out-of-body experience where they access a subjective moment in their own future. Project Montauk almost certainly was a spin-off of Project Pegasus, and there would be pretty profound reasons for doing that. First of all, I know from my own visits to my own subjective future as a child in Project Pegasus that we were frequently providing valid information when we were traveling forward astrally, as it were, psychically in the Montauk chair. That is to say, the futures events and episodes that we were apprehending in the chair were frequently what came to pass in the actual future as we lived it, or as it unraveled in real time. So there was an accuracy benefit to the Montauk chair. The person's body remained intact and survived their time travel sitting back in the chair in the laboratory where the person was then sent forward in time psychically or astrally to their own future. So because of the safety factor and the accuracy, I think they probably spun off Project Montauk from Project Pegasus I don't know why they limited it exclusively to boys, because in Project Pegasus there was an equal number of boys and girls who were time traveling.
They literally said this shit out loud, and it flew under the radar, y'all. The U.S. government just admitted that they got tech that can manipulate time and space, y'all. This is not a rumor. This is not a movie, not a script, none of that shit. This is real life. The dude that said this, his name is Michael Cresius. He's one of the White House top scientists. This man literally said that we can bend time and annihilate distance. Listen to what he said over my head.
We seem to have lost focus and vision, to have lowered our sights and let systems and structures and bureaucracies muddle us along. But we are capable of so much more. Our technologies permit us to manipulate time and space. They leave distance annihilated, causing us to grow and improve productivity. It is the choices of individuals that will make the new golden age possible. The choice of individuals to master the sclerosis of the state, and the choice of individuals to craft new technologies and give themselves to scientific discoveries that will bend space and time, make more with less, and drive us further into the endless frontier.
What we know about time, what we know about time shifting, time traveling, they not telling us nothing. The feds and the CIA have just released the Gateway experience, showing you how you can do remote viewing. You can literally be in one place and you can shift your consciousness into a whole nother place, and you can know who's there. You can hear them talk. You can know the dimensions of the place. You can walk around this whole place in your astral body, and it's called the Gateway experience. This is actually unclassified documents of them showing. It's called the Hemi-Sync, how you can literally sync all of the different hemispheres of your brain, and you can actually have a magnitude of electrical magnetic frequencies to push your consciousness anywhere you want to push it on Earth or in this realm. So there, and then they got the Hydro Collider, where they're using melanin particles and they're bending reality, and they're opening up different wormholes and portals to different dimensions that's already here on Earth, but we are not vibrating at these spectrums and frequencies, so we can't see behind this veil that we call the universal reality. So these are technologies, and these are certain types of practices and clinical trials that our military have been doing for the last 50 years, time traveling for the last 50 years, hemi-syncing from the last 50 to 60 years, building these spaceships since the 90s was here. And they're finally now coming out saying, no, these are, UFOs. No, these are Hemi-Sync do exist. You know what I'm saying? The Gateway experience do exist. Astral projection is real. The chakras is real. Aligning your chakras and pushing energy through your meridian pathways can open up a love frequency. These different frequencies can heal certain parts of your body. So everything that they've been putting in the sci-fi movies, they're now unclassifying documents showing that all of it is real. So if all of these things are real, and if time traveling is real, all I'm saying is, and I'm not saying this is concrete, but this is what I'm thinking. What happened if the alien grays is us in the future coming back, their past time traveling in the past, coming back to warn us on how to stop this catastrophic event that's finna happen, and they just letting us know, look, here go the technology. Let's do away with this technology, start growing more trees. Have everybody in your household grow their own food. You see that? Start cleansing up your water systems. Quit trying to wage war to make $1. Quit trying to sell on because you running out of money, America. Like, it's so many things that's going on inside of society, and they're putting it on television like this is leading up to this, when it's really a whole nother agenda behind all this. So, I mean, them just my thoughts. I just be thinking something.